Shut up and sit down.
We're back after Barry. This is Inside Wisconsin. Barry Alvarez, the godfather of Wisconsin. Phenomenal. To kick off this show with Barry Alvarez, could have possibly been the best scenario to ever play out in the history of this show. So
might have to actually end the show. Could be it. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we've now retired. Inside
run. Good run. Great stories. Hey, speaking of great stories, I love a segment that we're going to do on this show about John's childhood growing up here in Wisconsin. We call it John, Wisconsin.
It may be childhood. It may be different parts, but just things that, as always, like I said, there are things that are intensely interesting to John. And quite frankly, well, then what more does we need than that, if that's what I think? But Trevor, since you live in Green Bay, and listen, this is our first show, but we're going to try to be as statewide as we can. It's why we want people to, again, reach us at the website. We reach us at insidewisconsin@gmail.com. Those kind of places, because we want to hear your stories as well. And we want to make sure that we're touching all the parts of the state that we can, and not just be parochial to where I grew up or where you grew up, or things that are, within a 60-mile radius of Brown County or woods where you have shot deer. But for starters, we got to start with where we start.
And without this story, there is no John, Wisconsin. There's no Inside Wisconsin that's relative to John Anderson.
So I thought I would explain this to people because, again, it's personal to me. I wrote this a few years ago, and it was just on a whim. And then I sent it to the Green Bay Press-Gazette, and the people there were nice enough to kind of print it. And it all started because they closed a Sears, which you would think, well, why? They've closed Sears across the country. I mean, that's what they do every day. But one in particular, because it literally is my Wisconsin story. I mean, I have tons of stories about Wisconsin, but this is my Wisconsin story. So I appreciate you indulge me. It's not terribly lengthy, but it's enough that I don't have it memorized. I wrote it down, and so I thought I would read it as it appeared on the interwebs, as I like to say, and in the Green Bay Press-Gazette. I am looking for news on the Packers' search for a GM, but instead am struck cold in a headline in this very paper. Sears to close Green Bay store. This cannot be. This is not right. This is heartbreaking. Sears has closed hundreds of stores across the country the past few years. I know this. It's not a new headline. However, until today, I hadn't considered the possibility that the corporate decision makers would shutter this Sears, my Sears. This isn't just some Sears store to me any more than Lambeau Field is just some stadium, or John Wayne is just some cowboy, or Frank Sinatra is just some singer. No, where most see just a department store, I see family history. I don't make it from infancy in Iowa to the Sports Center anchor desk at ESPN without this Sears. Doesn't happen. My life is tethered to the brown brick building at the corner of Military and Mason. Actually, it's 6th Street, but we won't worry about the precise location until I learn to ride a bike, and my mom needs to know exactly where I am at all times. My mother is a 24-year-old widow with a 3-year-old daughter and a 6-month-old son. It's November of 1965 when her husband, my father, is killed in a car accident on a gravel road in rural Iowa. I will never know Kenny Anderson, my father. My sister can recall some. My mom has all the memories. In 1965, there are some hard days. The three of us live in a small town in a small house in Mason City, Iowa, a place made famous as River City by the Music Man composer Meredith Willson. There are good neighbors on either side of us, dear friends who help look out for us. A few months passed, and in February of 1966, Larry Neville, the neighbor on the left as you look at our front door, he gets transferred to be head of the appliance department at a new Sears store in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Larry was born in Green Bay. This is a chance for he and his wife, Verna, to go back home. That summer, my mom takes us to Green Bay to visit the Nevilles. And there's something about that to her that feels right, something warm and inviting. I've often wondered if it would have felt that way in December. By the end of the year, my mom needs a change. Iowa's home. All her family is there, but so too is my dad's memory. Change can't erase all the sadness, but it can take away everyday reminders. Change is a chance to reset and move forward. So as 1967 dawns, she follows the Nevilles and moves. It's January, it's cold, but it still feels right. My sister and I will grow up Green Bay. The Packers, paper mills, Kennedy Elementary School, Lombardi, then Southwest, fish on Fridays. The Sears store has made it so. From there, my Sears tale is sort of mostly retail. Everything a kid could possibly imagine needing, clothes and winter clothes, shoes, sporting goods, records, and everything you can't imagine needing. Carpet, drapes, house paint, tires, tools. As I grow up, I wear out those Sears indestructible tough-skin jeans like they're brown paper bags. The holes I make in the knees are patched with swaths of denim transplanted from the pairs of jeans I outgrew the year before. Sort of a denim cycle of life. My mother remarries Walter Collins, the best man I have ever known. He's my new dad. He loves us unconditionally. He also loves tools on the condition that they are Craftsman tools from Sears. Tools are birthday gifts, Christmas gifts for dad and my stepbrothers. For my sister, there's a Barry Manilow album, and I'll be admitted, yes, I know the lyrics, but that's because she played them so much. And Andy Gibb 45s. Mom, put a bow on it, she'll love it. For me, what wouldn't I like to have, right? But if I have to pick just one thing, then it's a football shirt, and these are the days before the NFL had cashed in for billions on merchandising, with a picture that looks remarkably like John Brockington on the front of it. The building with that giant swan-like S on the side, that's our destination. My friends and I, we have bikes and allowance money. We've pedaled the route 1,000 times, beginning from my house on Beamer Street, which, by the way, is as vexing to spell now at 55 as it was when I was a kid. Around the corner and down Caters Drive, you hang a right on Langlade, then a left through the parking lots of a restaurant, gas station, convenience store, and then be careful at the intersection of 9th and Military. I can literally still hear my mom imploring me to this day, John, please be careful when crossing at 9th and Military. The whole trip is a ride past buildings that remain today, but places that are long gone. The Village Inn, Western Gas Station, Red Owl Food Store, St. Agnes Bakery. There was a water tower, Ponderosa, Van Boxtel Ford. But finally, we arrive at Sears, Military and 6th, always the backside. It's the merchandise pickup entrance by the all those automotive garage bays. And when I really thought about this, I'm like, I'm not sure I ever went through the front door of the place. We shopped, we looked, we loitered a bunch, and even sometimes we were lucky enough to buy. And it was childhood at its best. Eventually, we graduated and we could take the city bus and take a trip to Port Plaza Mall. And then you graduated high school and college, and I moved to Oklahoma, and then I moved to Arizona, and now I moved to Connecticut. I have a family of my own, 2 wonderful kids. And when our house needs a new washer and dryer, naturally we go to Sears. And I tell my kids for the umpteenth time this story of Sears in my hometown. And they know the one I mean, because it's the one that brought Nana and Annie Les and their dad to Green Bay. And as I tell people all the time, that Sears, it's more than just a store. It's my story.